On this day, May 18, 1980, Mount St. Helens eruption, a massive explosion, showed the world the terrifying power hidden beneath our feet. But it wasn't the first time our planet shook the world. From ancient cities buried in ash to modern underwater blasts, here are 10 of the most powerful and planet-shaping volcanic eruptions in human history. Mount Vesuvius, Pompeii. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted near the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum in Italy. The eruption began with a towering column of ash and pumice shooting into the sky in a massive Plinian eruption. Many residents initially stayed behind, believing the danger would pass. Hours later, deadly pyroclastic flows rushed down the mountain and buried entire cities under layers of ash. Pompeii was frozen in time, preserving buildings, streets, and even human figures beneath volcanic debris. The disaster became one of the most famous volcanic tragedies in history and gave scientists a detailed look into ancient Roman life. Krakatoa. In 1883, Krakatoa in Indonesia produced one of the loudest eruptions ever recorded. The explosion was heard thousands of miles away and generated massive tsunamis that devastated nearby coastlines. Huge amounts of ash and gas entered the atmosphere, creating brilliant sunsets around the world and temporarily lowering global temperatures. Most of the island collapsed into the sea during the eruption, forming a giant caldera. Years later, a new volcano called Anak Krakatau, meaning Child of Krakatoa, began rising from the ocean. Mount Pelee. In 1902, Mount Pelee on the Caribbean island of Martinique unleashed a catastrophic Pelean eruption. A massive pyroclastic flow destroyed the city of Saint-Pierre within minutes, killing nearly 30,000 people. The superheated cloud of gas and ash moved so quickly that most residents had no chance to escape. One of the only survivors was a prisoner protected by the thick walls of his jail cell. The disaster became a defining example of how deadly pyroclastic flows can be. Novarupta. Novarupta erupted in Alaska in 1912 and became the largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. The eruption released enormous quantities of ash and pumice, blanketing nearby regions and creating the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. Thick ash clouds traveled across North America, darkening skies far from Alaska. The event dramatically reshaped the landscape and remains one of the most powerful eruptions ever measured in modern times. Mount St. Helens. In 1980, Mount St. Helens in the United States erupted after weeks of earthquakes and swelling ground signaled rising pressure underground. A huge landslide triggered a sideways blast that flattened forests for miles. Ash clouds rose high into the atmosphere, while pyroclastic flows and mud flows swept through valleys. The eruption killed dozens of people and transformed the mountain's appearance. Scientists closely monitored the volcano before the eruption, making it one of the most studied volcanic disasters ever. Nevado del Ruiz. In 1985, Colombia's Nevado del Ruiz erupted and melted large amounts of snow and ice near the summit. The melting created massive lahars, or volcanic mudflows, that rushed down river valleys at high speed. Entire towns were overwhelmed, including Armero, where thousands of people died during the night. The tragedy highlighted the danger of lahars and the importance of rapid evacuation systems around volcanoes. Mount Pinatubo. Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines in 1991 after centuries of quiet activity. Scientists and local officials successfully evacuated thousands of people before the eruption, saving many lives. The eruption produced gigantic ash clouds and pyroclastic flows, while releasing vast amounts of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Global temperatures temporarily dropped because volcanic particles reflected sunlight away from Earth. Pinatubo became an important example of how scientific monitoring can reduce volcanic disasters. Eyjafjallajökull. In 2010, Iceland's Eyjafjallajökull volcano erupted beneath a glacier, creating powerful steam explosions and towering ash clouds. Although the eruption was not the largest in history, it caused major disruption to global air travel. Ash particles drifting across Europe forced thousands of flights to be cancelled because volcanic ash can damage aircraft engines. The eruption showed how even moderate volcanic events can have worldwide economic effects. Kilauea. Kilauea in Hawaii is one of the world's most active volcanoes and is famous for its relatively calm shield eruptions. Instead of violent explosions, rivers of lava slowly flow across the landscape and into the ocean. In 2018, major eruptions destroyed hundreds of homes and reshaped parts of the island. Kilauea helps scientists study how lava behaves and how new land forms over time. Hunga Tonga. Hunga Haʻapai. In 2022, the underwater volcano Hunga Tonga, Hunga Haʻapai produced a massive explosion in the Pacific Ocean. The eruption sent ash and water vapor high into the atmosphere and triggered tsunami waves across multiple countries. Shock waves from the blast circled the planet several times and were detected around the world. Satellite images captured the enormous eruption cloud expanding over the ocean, making it one of the most visually dramatic eruptions ever recorded. From the ancient tragedy of Pompeii to the modern shockwaves of Hunga Tonga, these eruptions remind us of the raw, unstoppable power of our planet. They are forces of both absolute destruction and incredible creation. Which of these volcanic disasters surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.